So we're really excited to be launching the Australian Feedbase Monitor today. The Australian Feedbase Monitor uses satellite imagery to provide producers with a calculated estimate of their available pasture. And that pasture estimate can be viewed whenever you need to look at it on an iPhone or a tablet or a laptop or whatever is the most convenient device for you to use. And if you're an MLA member, it's totally free. So it's also available to non-MLA member levy payers through a paid subscription. But if you're a levy payer and you're not an MLA member, then fill out the form, join up and get the service for free. So we absolutely believe that this is a world first, and this project's a terrific example of MLA co-investing with a leading Australian ag tech company in SIBO Labs to deliver what is really a very powerful digital-based pasture management tool. But at the same time, it's very practical, it's very easy to use, and it's also available for producers to pick up and use on day one, which is today, our launch day. You would have heard earlier in the plenary sessions that MLA Managing Director Jason Strong, along with the board and the rest of MLA, have had a very strong focus on MLA having a strategy and an investment plan that's focused on tackling the big complex issues for industry. And optimising feed-based management and utilisation is definitely one of those areas. And this project, again, is a fantastic example, I think, of how that strategy and those investments are delivering real positive impacts for industry. So it's a terrific project, excuse me, to be part of. And I think in many ways it's really just the beginning of our journey of the possibilities that tools like the Australian Feedbase Monitor and other tools like it offer to industry, particularly in the area of taking objectively collected data and then turning that into reliable information and insights that producers and the whole industry really can use to increase productivity, profitability, and importantly, triple bottom line sustainability. So, look, I think with that brief introduction, I'm going to hand over to Al Rayner. Al's the Adoption and Extension Manager for SIBO Labs and for the Australian Feedbase Monitor. So Al can tell us a little bit more about how it actually works. So I'll hand over to you, Al.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making the time in what is an overwhelmingly big day to come and have a listen to what the Australian Feedbase Monitor offers and how you can start to use it. Since we've launched it this morning, I don't think I've stopped signing people up and getting their places lined up and using it. So there are people in this room now who've already logged on, created their account, had their farm set up, and are using the data to make a few changes when they go home. So this has been a project that's been a long time coming, and we're very pleased as part of SIBO Labs to be able to work with MLA and the MDC to bring this project to fruition. SIBO Labs, just briefly, for those of you who haven't heard of us, SIBO is Latin for feed and forage, which is what the name comes from. And we're involved in a range of industry projects that involve recording and monitoring and using data that is accurate, objective and reliable for a range of industry reporting projects. So we have a commercial service which is supporting grazing decisions across the country. Our data is being used in the National Beef Industry Sustainability Framework, the Sheep Industry Sustainability Framework, and going on to provide other data for other projects such as the CN30 objectives that MLA is working very hard to do. I guess the concept of where the AFM comes about is that we all rely on pastures. The challenge is, and I've had this today, how many people come and tell me that they assess their pastures and they know their pastures, what will this tool do for them? If you think back to the drought only a few years ago, one of the things I learnt very much as a beef consultant is that people invariably underestimated just how much feed their livestock required, and they overestimated just how much they had on hand. And the problem was that they started to crunch very quickly. So to prove that a little bit further, we did some work with a survey through my consultancy, looking at the responses of over 2,000 producers to ask them about how they made their grazing decisions, what effect those grazing decisions then had on their decision to move or to sell livestock, and whether unplanned decisions had actually had any impact on their bottom line. So what we found from that survey was that something like 84% of those respondents, so just over 650 respondents to that survey, said that they undertook regular pasture assessments. Every person who's come to talk to me today tells me that they look at their pastures every day. Excellent. 40% of those producers said they do it every week. That's pretty good as well. 75% of those respondents said that they did it visually. So they're relying on their experience or their basic visual benchmarks that they've acquired somewhere along the way. And they're pretty confident that they worked. However, in the last 5 years, almost 30% of those producers who say that they do their regular assessments have had to make at least 2 unplanned stocking decisions. So your assessments can't be that great if you've got to make unplanned stocking decisions along the way. And of those unplanned stocking decisions, 63% of producers said that actually caused them to make unplanned sales, and that actually resulted in almost half of those producers losing money on a sale. So your ability to assess pastures effectively has a direct impact on your production and on your profitability. And for us, we really want to make people feel much more confident in their assessments and step away from these unplanned decisions, and certainly these unplanned decisions that are costing money. So in reality, satellite imagery, it offers a lot more than what you could be able to see from the ute window. If you think about it, if you drive and assess your pastures at the same time, you're looking across your pastures, not down at them. You're not actually picking up the variability across your paddocks. You're not picking up the bareness in places. You're not picking up that range of responses that occur across your paddocks. So your assessments are always going to be slightly off given that method of assessment. Satellite assessments that take place on a regular basis, looking directly down at a pasture, give you the accuracy and the confidence to make better decisions. So we're looking at using what we have in terms of a 5-day satellite window to offer at 1 hectare resolution the opportunity for you to see month by month how your pastures have been changing and adapting to what's happening around you. And in reality, what we're looking at is a very accurate model. Over 5,000 calibration sites across the country where people are collecting data, adding it into our network and our modelling, so that now our satellite predictions across the country are accurate to within 300 kilograms of dry matter. Now, I teach ProGraze as part of my consultancy, and if I could get my producers to get within 300 kilos of dry matter, I reckon I wouldn't have to teach ProGraze anymore. So it's a very difficult thing to get that accurate. So we're very, very happy at what the satellite imagery offers us. More importantly, and from a practical level, you'll all go home tonight and you'll look at the weather and you'll start to look at where did that rain fall? And it's easy to start to look at that rainfall map because we're thinking, if the rain fell there, I should have a pasture response. But the difference between rainfall sites and where we record rainfall doesn't pick up those storms that go through the back paddocks, doesn't pick up those showers that you might not have seen, and certainly mightn't be recorded in the BOM statistics. So what we want to be able to see is to pick up those changes not from how much rain fell, but to where did the rain fall and what did the pastures do. And the satellite imagery picks that up and picks that up very quickly for you changing the dynamic of what we're looking to see. So our project has been designed to deliver to you the access of that information in a very, very easy way to grasp. The way that you do that is to access it through the MLA dashboard. And so you need to have, first of all, an MLA, My MLA password and account. If you haven't set that up, today's a great chance to talk to the membership team about doing that. You need to be a member to access the free service. So the confusion for many people is that because they pay a levy, they think they are automatically an MLA member. You do need to make sure that you have taken up your entitlement as an MLA member, which allows you access to a range of other things, as well as the capacity to vote on who will be representing you at MLA boards, and opens up the opportunity for free access to the AFM. The other value of having a My MLA account is that you can now start to link some of your other MLA accounts together in one place. So you can have your NLIS accounts, your LPA account, your My MSA account, or your Livestock Data Link account. All of these accounts that provide you with really insightful data, but can be linked together so you only have to sign in once to see everything. Instead of trying to find 15 different passwords and 5 different emails, which has happened today, you get one. And makes it much more smooth and much more easy to manage as a process for us. Once you've signed in and linked your accounts, you can then start to use the system from the word go. As I've said, I've signed up about 10 or 15 people in the last hour and a half to use the system and set their farms up. They have their My MLA account, they already have their account linked with their LPA, their MLA membership is correct, and away they go. For those people who've come today who are not MLA members, they've been able to access the system by choosing to subscribe. They get 30 days free use of the tool before we then start to charge them $99 a year, which gives you time to sort out your MLA membership, or if you're not an MLA member, at least you know what you're signing up for. Once you've done that, we then take you into the AFM dashboard. And the dashboard will come up with the picks that you've registered against your LPA. So if you've got multiple picks, you'll see those picks sitting up on the side of your screen. All you need to do then is to select the pick that you'd like to set up. Once you've opened that, it will ask you to type in the name of that farm, its actual location, because your picks on the LPA account are not geospatially linked. You could have a pick that's at the top of Wandsworth Road in Ben Lomond, but your actual postal address might be in Glen Innes. So linking the two allows you to find where your property is and line it up with that actual pick. Once you do that, select the land parcels associated with that pick, and then basically drag your front gate down to where it is, hit finish, and there you go. You're ready to roll to start using the AFM. What it will generate for you is what can be described as a crazy image to start with until you start to get used to looking at it. This is the image of one of our farms that we've been working with in the Claremont region. So the first thing that you might notice is that there's a blue outline, which is the actual land parcels for that property. So yes, we can see what's happening in the region around that location, but we can't generate any data for that particular property. Only the account holder can see what's happening in terms of their annual changes, their monthly changes across their property. By clicking on the land parcel, they generate 2 graphs. The top graph shows the range of total standing dry matter that occurs across that land parcel at each month, going back to 2019, or actually 2017, the drought years where everyone wants to have a look at what the big gaps were in 19. And you can compare your seasonal averages. The red line you'll see for Claremont is exceptional compared to every other year that we've looked at going back to 2017. Now each square or each dot or pixel that you might see there represents 1 hectare. So each of those dots is 1 hectare within that land parcel. Looking across that, the image of whether it's green or red or tending from green through to orange gives you an indication going through the months of how the season is changing around you and giving you the opportunity to start to see the responses that have been happening and whether you need to start to move a little bit earlier given what's happening on your frequent updates. You have the opportunity to zoom out and have a look on a much broader level. So if you want to see what's happening around your region, around your weather districts, your LLS boundaries in New South Wales, your catchment districts or your other regions, you can zoom out and start to have a look at the trends that have been occurring across your area over time. You can't generate a table for it, but you can certainly have a look to see how the season is changing or has changed over recent times and use that to forecast ahead for your decisions into the future. So looking at this particular series of slides, you'll see those changes over time as the season changes with the effects of weather patterns, and we can continue to scroll backwards for some time so that you can model the effect of how quickly that occurs. We can also start to put in other things such as woody cover. So for those of you in areas where you are trying to manage the effects of woody weeds, regrowth or other things, we can actually map that back and look at those changes going back on historical data for about 30 years. So you can start to then reflect on the changes that have been happening, and if you needed to include that in your property management, that is something that will be an objective sort of data for you that you may not otherwise have been able to easily generate. For those of you who are living in areas where you want to try and manage ground cover, or you have to report on ground cover levels on a month-by-month or season-by-season basis, finding that objective data for whole of property can be challenging. This particular model in the AFM allows you to generate that ground cover model for you and generate that report objectively. So it is based again on data that's being collected. More importantly, I guess a lot of people have said, well, gee, we really like this, but we want to go a little bit further. What can we do with it? So while some people are very happy working at a property level and looking at the range of data across a property and on a per hectare basis, there is the opportunity to take it further into something called Pasture Key, which is our commercial service. The Pasture Key model has a more frequent update. Rather than a 30-day rolling average, we offer a 15-day rolling average. We go from 1 hectare down to 10 metres. So it offers a much more detailed view across paddocks, and we offer it on a paddock-by-paddock basis rather than on a property basis. The value of that is probably for those of you who are recording data on your paddock performance and you want to start to integrate it with other on-farm software. So opportunities with AgriWeb or to partner with things like Ceres tags would actually work for you if you wanted to do that. Our advice today, however, is get used to using the AFM to start with. Use the free service, start to understand the trends and the transitions that are occurring across your property. Have a look at what your seasonal graphs have been doing over the last 5 years. If you've set up your major livestock events around a seasonal growth curve, is that seasonal growth curve correct for your particular location and for your property? And if not, there's an opportunity to think about your times that you might be looking to manage those major events like calving or shearing, lambing or joining. So the data that's provided through these graphs can certainly have an impact on those decisions very much from the moment you start to use it. If you'd like to come and talk to us about either setting your property up, how to make sure that it works, or any other question that you might have about the Australian Feedbase, we're just down a little bit further along in the Feedbase section. There's 3 of us there. We'll do our best to get you signed up and off and running today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present, and thanks to MLA for being prepared to invest in a very small company of 5 people to bring this to the industry as a whole. We're really excited and we're really proud to be part of it. Thank you.